So, if you've been on social media for like an amount of time, I'm sure you've seen someone shooting a video sitting in their car, almost certainly on their cell phone, and those videos tend to get shared around a lot. Their topics range from being political to being educational, heartwarming to funny. So, why do these videos get popular? And why do people keep making them? Well, obviously, part of it is the content that they're related to. People who agree or aggressively disagree with the videos will share them, talk about them, give them the free publicity that is common everywhere. That's true of anything online whatsoever. But there are some other things that help these videos do as well as they do. For those with some recording knowledge, part of the reason people lean towards recording in cars might be kind of obvious, honestly, but in case you're not familiar with that stuff, let's talk briefly about sound and light. If you were a podcast listener during the lockdown of 2020, you probably noticed some changes in audio quality as recording for many podcasts had to shift from in studio to at home. During that transition, you may have heard podcasters talk about recording in their closets, and maybe you thought it was a joke or maybe a means to not bother their roommates or neighbors or partners or cats or dogs or goldfish, etc., etc. But it probably wasn't. In case you didn't know or never thought about it, sound is just vibrations in the air. And while you might not think about it much in your day to day life, it's bouncing off of everything that is around you. When you're talking to people face to face, it's not going to change much about how you hear things. But when you're recording with a microphone, that becomes a lot more problematic. There are a bunch of different types of microphones, and I'm not going to get into that because I'm not an expert. So to really simplify it, we're going to hypothesize by imagining like an omnidirectional microphone, or a mic that picks up sounds from all the sides. Imagine that you're speaking into this microphone and its sole design is to pick up sounds. When you speak, the sound does not travel in a straight line. Think of it like a half circle coming out of your big old talk hole. So, as this half circle of sound comes out of your mouth, some of it hits the mic, but the rest of it hits whatever environment you're in, and all of it continues bouncing, like ping pong balls being tossed down a giant slide or something. And as these sounds keep bouncing, some continue to hit the mic and other surfaces, and it makes for really cloudy audio. However, if you record in a smaller space that has soft, differently shaped materials that don't reflect or bounce the sound waves, you get a much clearer overall sound as the mic picks up less of what is bouncing around and more of what is specifically directed at it. A lot of recording setups will even double up on this, placing sound reflecting material behind the mic to increase the localized sound waves going into the mic. But you don't only have to deal with sounds coming from your big old talking voids. You gotta also deal with sounds from other places, like if you have cats, or if you have a neighbor, or if you have other sound things. Again, it's not that big a deal when you're trying to talk to someone face to face, but if you're trying to record clear audio of something you're saying, you need to keep the unwanted noises out. That is why recording studios aren't just full of foam and pillows. They're never going to keep sound out as well as a hard surface. It's like a sponge. Some water is going to get absorbed, but if you put enough water into it, it's going to start leaking out, or in this case, leaking in. So if you're trying to record at home, you would probably want to try and find a place surrounded by solid surfaces, but filled with soft things. Hence, the closet. And also the car. You may not think of cars as a good place to keep sounds out, but modern cars are designed for way more comfort than you even realize. A simple way to see how good a car actually is at keeping out noise is to drive down a highway and open all your windows, and then try and hold a normal conversation at normal volume. It ain't easy. As vehicles became more and more important in our modern lives, car makers realized that, hey, people like when they're comfy. Let's make them comfy. But that's just the sound. Cars also provide on a sunny day. A pretty quick lighting setup that's hard to get indoors. When you're filming and you want it to look good and clear and you're filming someone or something, you gotta think about the light. One of the most common ways to light someone in a shot is to have the light come from behind the camera. It prevents shadows from falling on the person in frame, and it also prevents, big old lens flares. It also helps to have one or two other light sources to the side of the person or object in frame to help avoid tone and to help provide tone and full illumination while avoiding washing out the person in frame. Now, if you were to park your car in a nice sunny spot, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a similar lighting setup if you have non-tinted windows. If you have tinted windows, I am sorry, I can't help you. I have never had tinted windows. Are they nice? But you have a nice big window full of natural light in front of you. It's usually curved, which helps with the sounds. And to the sides, you have fill lighting that makes sure the rest of the shot is well lit. And you get less shadows on your face. You're still going to get some shadows because it's not a perfect setup. The final thing to consider is that nowadays, most folks have phones instead of cameras. And I don't know if you looked at your phone lately, but they don't have a socket to screw into a tripod. But you know what a lot of people do have? Something to hold their phone in their car so they can see it while they drive. A lot of these are even posable so that they can adjust it. It's basically a fancy posable car-based phone tripod. Now, one difficulty of filming solo is that it's harder to frame the shot. For most hobby filmmakers like this idiot doing this thing, you have to be careful about moving out of frame or making sure the camera is recording properly or making sure you don't have schmutz on your face or making sure that you have the camera on. Well, front-facing phone cameras tend to be slightly lower quality than the rear-facing ones, although the gap shrinks with every new phone. This provides you with both a recording and a way to monitor the recording. And if you decide to not go with the front-facing camera, another advantage of being in the car is that unless you do some super big and wild stuff like leave the car or try and move to the back seat, you can pretty much set up the framing, and due to the limited range of movement you have while in a car, know that you're gonna be mostly in frame the entire time. So that's like a super basic overview of the technical aspects of filming your car, but that's not the only thing that makes this style so appealing to record or effective with audiences. A major appeal of these videos is the humanizing side of it that filming in this way presents. Akin to like found footage movies, filming in this slightly janky but slightly quality style gives a credence of credibility to whatever the person is saying. It speaks to the idea that this person was so motivated by something to make this video, but the decent quality makes it actually watchable. Because if they aren't watchable, the video is not going to get many places. People are much more quality based for an entry barrier, and the quality comes from the technical. Now, the thing is, this idea that someone can spout off information for minutes, appearing to do so without a script, also invokes an emotional and mental reaction. You're drawn to them on an emotional level because the video has an element of spontaneity, as if the person was just driving around, or they left the store, or they saw a cat, and they were so incited to make a video that they had to, at that very moment, stop and record their immediate feelings about whatever they just experienced. You're also drawn to them on an intellectual sense, because the ability of someone to speak confidently and passionately, seemingly off the top of their head about whatever they're talking about, automatically leads to at least some portion of the audience trusting them and the things they are saying. Part of this convincing dance comes from just the fact that When we see and hear someone talking about something, we're more likely to believe it than just reading it. Humans like to see other humans, and you will see videos that aren't filmed in cars are still mostly of people talking, because people talking excites the brain, and we want to watch more of that. Now, this vibe of honesty occurring in a place that many viewers will have some familiarity with, such as a car, creates a sense of empathy and understanding in the viewer for the speaker. Because in a world of overbearingly produced media, it can be kind of refreshing to see someone just speaking in a car, candidly to an audience, without cuts or edits or production. Maybe people, stumble over some words. I can open the window and exist in the world just like you. There's more honesty and less created production. Or is there? I'm sure some of these videos are just as they present themselves. Honest people talking to a camera in their car off the top of their head because it's an easy, comfortable place to record some decent quality audio and footage. And honestly, I don't mean to fault these videos. They exist. There are definitely some trashy ones. But sometimes people just want to talk in a car about a thing. But what I want you to consider when you watch any of these videos or any videos online is that those people made the conscious choice to record themselves in that moment. It is a purposeful choice they made, and they get to decide how it looks and sounds when it goes online. The act of someone sitting in a car to record themselves is purposeful. That person can make whatever decisions about how they want to present themselves before, during, and after filming. As far as what they actually share goes online, and while not everyone is going to go as far as fully cutting, changing, and editing the footage, if it's something you just see as you're scrolling through a social media timeline, you may not pay attention to see what editing may have taken place if there is any. You're also never going to see how many takes that video may have taken, or if they actually have a script, or maybe just some thoughts written down that they're trying to present. They get to decide how it looks. And when people choose to record videos themselves and put them online with the intent of getting views, they're looking to provide the best or most marketable versions of themselves. People who do comedy are looking to provide the videos where they're the most funny. People providing educational videos are looking to put out content where they seem knowledgeable, but maybe also entertaining, because everything has to be entertaining. People who help the houseless are presenting a morally ambiguous part of themselves that may be intended to increase the charitability of their audience, but is also usually monetizing the houseless and may just be intended to make them look better. And conservative videos are mostly just lying to your face. That's a joke, kind of. But you can't really know what someone's intent was behind making a video. You can, however, choose to think about what you're watching in a critical manner and attempt to piece together what they are trying to sell you. Because any created content, even if it's not an exchange of money, is an exchange of time. And they are trying to sell you their content in exchange for the time that you have. If there's anything to take away from this video, it's the fact that you can't really trust anything someone puts up of themselves. And it's difficult to trust anything that you see put online. You are being subjected to influence in ways you might not even realize, and it can be hard to see even when you're obviously looking for it. Just because people are supposed to disclose paid advertisements doesn't mean they're not going to find loopholes to that system. If there is a skill I can suggest you learn about, and that I will attempt to share with you my very limited knowledge of, It's media literacy. Learning about how to intake media in a constructive, thoughtful, and knowledgeable way is becoming more and more important because it's not just about what is being said, but also how it is being presented and how it is being given to you and what it is attempting to make you feel. Social media makes it a lot easier to present opinions as facts and actively works to dissuade you from looking further into it. So, by thinking about the way content itself is created and why, you're already taking a more thoughtful approach to how you're learning about the world around you, and you're more likely to see when people are trying to play you. Also, if you haven't gathered it by now, this video is edited. This speech is recorded separately and read from a script. The title of this video is made to draw in viewers, and the thumbnail is also made to draw you in as well. I'm telling you all this so you can think about it. Consider it baby's first video analysis. There are things that I didn't do that I should have done. And if you can point out what some of those things are, given that I am attempting to present you facts and knowledge, then you should share that in the comments. And if there are things you think, oh, I didn't think about that at all, maybe go back and see what I'm doing with how I'm presenting it in this video and see if you can see how I use these tactics to buy your time, to sell you my content. And also, thanks for watching. Any music that's going to be in this video is from the mind of Patricia Taxton, who is great, and you should check her out. And if you are a content creator, she's great at letting you use her music as long as you credit her, which is great because it's really, really fucking good music. Also, I honestly did just enjoy recording random shots driving around, and I may do it again. I don't know. You don't control me. But if you have any other thoughts on social media literacy, or thoughts on this video, or places you want me to drive around and take videos, leave it in the comments. Because comments are just another way that we exist in this media world. Just thinking about this stuff makes me tired, and I am going to nap now. Goodbye.